Welcome to today's deep dive. If you are tuning in right now, maybe you're prepping for a big strategic meeting or trying to figure out where your industry is headed.
Right.
Or maybe you're just insanely curious about what actually makes or breaks a modern company.
Yeah, absolutely.
So our mission for this session is to figure out why the massive, headline-grabbing business threats we constantly hear about.
Oh, you mean like AI wiping out jobs or looming economic recessions?
Exactly. Global supply chain implosions, all of that. We're going to look at why those are actually just a giant distraction from the real problem keeping mid-sized businesses completely stuck.
Yeah, and we're pulling all of our insights today from a single deeply analytical source. It's a report by the management consulting firm Pop.
Right.
And it's titled The $46 Million Question, Why Your Biggest Business Challenge Isn't What You Think. And I have to say, it forces a complete reevaluation of where a company's actual vulnerabilities lie.
It really does.
Yeah.
Because usually when we talk about a business facing an existential threat, there's this expectation that the danger is something massive and visible on the horizon.
Right, like a pilot staring at a weather radar.
Yes, exactly. You see the giant red storm cell of inflation or a market downturn, and you brace for impact. You focus all your attention outside the cockpit.
Which is, entirely human. We're wired to look at the big, loud, macroeconomic weather events.
Yeah.
But if you're hyper-focused on the storm outside, you completely miss the fact that your engine is quietly sputtering out right beneath your seat.
Wow. Yeah.
You might have the perfect flight plan to navigate a recession, but, you lack the mechanical power to actually fly the plane through it.
Okay, let's unpack this because the data Pop provides on this sputtering engine is just a massive reality check.
It really is.
According to their research, 46% of business leaders currently cite workforce challenges as their absolute number one issue. Meanwhile, revenue concerns trail behind at 39%.
Think about that for a second.
Right. Almost half of the CEOs out there are literally more worried about their people than their profits.
Well, look at the underlying mechanism there. Revenue is an output, right? Your workforce is the input.
Right.
If a business cannot hire or develop or keep the right team in place, every other competitive threat or revenue goal becomes a moot point. Having the most innovative product in the world or, the most brilliant marketing strategy, it means nothing if you don't have the human infrastructure to actually build the product, sell it, and service the clients.
You just can't execute.
Exactly. Your growth ceiling is already set in stone by the limits of your team.
And the source gets very specific about who is hitting this ceiling the hardest. This talent crisis is paralyzing a very specific group, companies sitting in the $5 million to $30 million revenue bracket.
Yeah, what Pop calls the squeeze zone.
The squeeze zone. I look at this squeeze zone like being the awkward middle child of the business world.
That's a great way to put it. Think about the pure mechanics of operating at, say, $15 million in revenue.
Right.
When you're a tiny startup, your survival mechanism is just pure scrappiness.
Yeah, you convince people to wear 5 different hats for a sliver of equity.
Exactly. And just the sheer thrill of building something from nothing.
Yeah.
But you outgrow that. You hit that mid-market tier, and you need serious, highly specialized strategic thinkers to take you to the next level.
Right. You can't just rely on enthusiastic generalists who are figuring things out as they go anymore.
No, you really can't.
But on the flip side, you also aren't a massive global giant yet.
Right.
You don't have the limitless stock options or the prestige of a household name or, and this is a big one, the luxury of having an 8-person HR department dedicated solely to wining and dining top-tier talent.
Yeah, you're squeezed from both sides. You can't offer Google money and you can't offer startup equity dreams.
So what's the immediate fallout from that?
Well, the immediate consequence of that squeeze is what Pop really focuses on. When a mid-market company can't bring in the specialized reinforcements they desperately need, the people already inside the building are forced to absorb the extra load.
Oh, right. The existing team just gets stretched paper thin.
Exactly.
And then burnout creeps into the culture.
And burnout fundamentally alters how a business operates. Decision-making shifts from being proactive to being entirely reactive.
Because you're just putting out fires.
Right. Long-term strategy goes completely out the window because your daily operations devolve into mere survival.
Wow.
Promising businesses in this squeeze zone, they plateau all the time, not because the market rejected their product, but simply because their internal talent pool just couldn't keep up with the founder's vision.
So if the squeeze zone is the underlying chronic condition, the The Stella Pop report argues that we are walking right into an acute crisis.
Yes.
They call 2025 the specific year of the talent reckoning, and they say it's driven by three colliding forces.
Right, triple threat.
Yeah. So let's talk about the first force they identify, which is a massive skills shortage. The source notes the workforce is aging out, retirements are up, and the pipeline of skilled talent just isn't refilling fast enough. And then add to that, younger workers are entering the market, demanding flexibility, psychological safety, and meaning over money.
Yeah, that's a huge shift.
Now, wait, I have to push back on this a little bit.
Okay.
Hasn't every older generation complained about the new generation entering the workforce? I mean, the whole kids these days don't want to work hard trope is basically as old as time.
It is, yeah.
So what makes this a systemic crisis and not just normal generational friction?
It's a fair question, and it's so tempting to write this off as just a bad attitude from younger workers, right? But the source text makes a really crucial distinction here.
Okay, what is it?
It's not about attitude. It's a fundamental redefinition of the word fit.
Fit, like a good fit for the company.
Exactly. Historically, a good fit meant a candidate who wanted the job title and was satisfied with the paycheck. The transaction was purely financial.
Right.
This new workforce operates on a totally different standard. They are fundamentally less loyal to job titles and significantly more loyal to values, transparency, and opportunities for real growth.
So it's like a currency exchange problem.
Yes, that's a perfect way to look at it.
The mid-market company is trying to pay them in traditional corporate dollars, like, a manager title and a competitive salary.
Yeah.
And they're expecting gratitude.
Right.
But the talent pool is demanding to be paid in purpose and flexibility. If you only speak the language of traditional compensation, you're just invisible to them.
It requires a total structural shift in how companies attract people. It's not a passing phase, It's a permanent evolution of workplace currency.
Okay, but let's say a company actually manages to figure out that currency exchange.
Sure.
They offer the flexibility, they attract the younger talent, and they get them in the door. They still aren't safe, are they?
Not at all.
Because hiring these people is only half the equation. The source highlights this massive retention crisis.
Yeah, the second force.
Right. Bringing people in the front door means absolutely nothing if they're running out the back door 6 months later.
And losing people faster than you can backfill them creates devastating hidden costs.
Yes.
It's a financial and operational bleed that, large corporations can absorb with their massive margins, but mid-market companies in the squeeze zone simply cannot.
The report lists these costs, and they add up so fast. I mean, you have the recruitment time, the sheer hours leaders spend interviewing instead of building the business.
It's exhausting.
You have the training dollars wasted. You have the cultural disruption of a constantly revolving door, which demoralizes the team left behind. But the hidden cost that really stood out to me was the loss of institutional knowledge.
Yeah, institutional knowledge is incredibly undervalued on a typical balance sheet.
Absolutely.
When a key player leaves, they don't just take their technical skills with them, they take the context. Let's say you have an account manager who leaves. They know exactly why a specific client needs their reports formatted a certain weird way by Thursday at 3 p.m.
Yes, the unwritten rules.
Exactly. They know the unwritten history of why an internal process was built the way it was 3 years ago.
And when that person walks out the door, the new hire isn't just starting from zero. The whole team takes a collective step backward to explain the context again, and you're often learning those unspoken client preferences the hard way. Through mistakes.
Which accelerates the final and perhaps most devastating force in this talent reckoning.
Leadership burnout.
Right. Because when hiring stalls and retention plummets, someone still has to deliver the product to the client.
Right. The work doesn't just stop.
Exactly. So the top performers, the middle managers, and the founders are the ones who pick up the slack.
And the concept of being a team player slowly morphs into working 14-hour days just to keep the lights on.
Yeah.
There's a quote from the Stella Pop report that encapsulates this perfectly. Survival doesn't scale.
That's such a critical point. Burned out leaders do not build thriving teams.
No.
They're too busy bailing water out of the boat to actually steer it anywhere.
Right.
When a company operates in survival mode, the leadership completely loses the mental bandwidth to innovate, to mentor junior staff, or, to strategize for the next quarter. They're literally just trying to survive until Friday.
Okay, so if survival doesn't scale, and throwing desperate job postings onto LinkedIn, hoping for a magical candidate who will solve everything, isn't working.
Which it rarely does.
Right. So how do breakout companies actually survive this? Because the source insists some companies in the squeeze zone are figuring this out.
They are. But the companies breaking out are abandoning the old rules of talent acquisition. They realize those rules just no longer apply to them. The first major pivot they make is prioritizing building talent over buying it.
Building over buying.
Right. Winning companies cultivate their own experts rather than trying to purchase them off the open market.
So they do this through in-house apprenticeship pipelines, transformative onboarding processes, tailored mentorship programs, that kind of thing.
Exactly.
I want to sharpen a metaphor here. Buying experienced talent off the open market, to me, is kind of like buying a prefabricated house and trying to force it onto your company's weirdly shaped lot.
That's a great visual.
Right. The structure's there, but it doesn't quite fit, and you have to spend months trying to force this new person to unlearn all the bad habits and rigid processes they brought from their last job.
Yes. Building an apprenticeship pipeline, on the other hand, is like growing your own timber.
Yes. You are custom building the talent. You take a smart, capable junior person, you pair them with a senior strategist, and you create a documented path for them to take over specific responsibilities within, say, 18 months. It absolutely takes more time up front to lay that foundation. But the return on investment is a highly loyal employee who possesses zero bad habits and is seamlessly aligned with your company's unique DNA.
And this ties directly into the second major pivot. What's fascinating here is that breakout companies compete on culture, not cash.
Culture, not cash.
As we established earlier, a mid-market company cannot outpay a tech giant. But Stella Pop argues that you can outhuman them.
Okay, I need to play devil's advocate for the listener here.
Go for it.
That phrase, outhuman them, it sounds fantastic on a motivational poster.
Sure.
But let's be brutally honest. If I am a talented engineer or a specialized strategist and a mega corporation offers me $50,000 more a year,
you're taking the money.
I mean, I'm taking the money. How does culture actually beat cold, hard cash in the real world?
Well, you're assuming that price is the only lever a candidate cares about.
Okay.
If a candidate's sole priority is maximizing their immediate salary, then you're correct. The mid-market company will lose that bidding war every time.
Right.
But remember the currency exchange we discussed earlier.
A shift in values.
Yes. A massive portion of today's workforce is deeply disillusioned with the toxic, burnout-heavy environments of megacorporations.
True.
They are actively seeking transparent communication, true autonomy over how and when they work, purpose-driven projects, and environments where they're treated as whole humans, not just cogs in a revenue machine.
So, if a mid-market company can genuinely provide a space where an employee feels valued, safe to take risks, and insulated from burnout, that becomes a tangible competitive advantage against a higher salary offer from a miserable environment.
Exactly. And creating that environment does not require a massive corporate budget. It requires intention from leadership.
But this brings us to a massive paradox, doesn't it?
How so?
Well, we just established that the leaders in this squeeze zone are working 14-hour days just to keep the lights on. They're bailing water.
Right, the survival mode.
Yeah, building custom apprenticeship pipelines and meticulously crafting a purpose-driven culture, that takes a massive amount of time and mental bandwidth.
It does.
So where does the time to do this actually come from?
This is where the source completely reframes the modern conversation around technology and AI.
Here's where it gets really interesting, because we constantly hear headlines about AI replacing people, right? Cutting headcounts and machines taking over jobs.
All the time.
But Stella Pop argues the exact opposite for companies in the squeeze zone. Yeah. The AI conversation isn't about replacing your people. It is about removing their bottlenecks.
Yes. Smart mid-market companies view technology not as a way to shrink their workforce, but as a force multiplier for the human capital they already have.
What does that actually look like mechanically? Because we aren't talking about a $5 million company building a massive custom enterprise AI infrastructure, are we?
Not at all. We are talking about utilizing accessible, out-of-the-box, low-code automations to bridge legacy software and eliminate mundane tasks.
Okay.
Think about the daily friction in a standard office. You might have a highly paid strategic thinker spending 3 hours a week manually copying data from a sales CRM into a separate invoicing software, right? Just because the two systems don't talk to each other.
That is a massive waste of their potential.
Exactly. By implementing a simple automation to connect those systems, you eliminate the data entry. You suddenly create bandwidth.
You give that strategist those 3 hours back.
Yes. Now, multiply that across the entire team by auditing all their repetitive administrative tasks.
You buy back the time. And what do they do with those reclaimed hours? They use them for the high-level work machines cannot do.
Precisely.
They focus on innovation, building deeper client relationships, mentoring the apprentices in that custom pipeline we talked about, and executing actual long-term strategy.
Tech unlocks the human potential across the organization. It's the tool that gives leaders the time they need to actually out-human their competitors.
Which allows these breakout companies to play the long game.
Yeah.
They stop looking for quick fixes. They map out multi-year workforce strategies. They prioritize succession planning and talent development during the plateau before the next growth cycle even arrives.
That is so key. The companies that win the next economic boom will be the ones that prepared their foundation while everyone else was panicking.
Because if you wait until you land a massive new contract to suddenly realize you need to hire and train 5 new leaders,
the friction of the squeeze zone will just tear your operations apart.
So what does this all mean? Let's tie all of this together for the listener. We started this deep dive talking about terrifying macroeconomic storms, recessions, inflation, supply chains.
Right.
But the Stella Pop report leaves us with a fascinating twist. If you flip the script, this workforce crisis, this seemingly insurmountable challenge of finding and keeping great people, is actually your greatest advantage.
It really is. Because if you are feeling the intense pain of the squeeze zone, your direct competitors are feeling that exact same pain. They're stuck in the exact same mess.
But most of them are doing absolutely nothing innovative to solve it.
No.
They're still panic posting the same tired job descriptions on job boards, offering slightly more money, and praying a fully trained unicorn walks through the door to save them.
Good luck with that.
Right. The old joke holds true here. You don't need to outrun the bear. You just need to outrun the guy standing next to you.
The math is undeniable. You cannot scale a $10 million business using a $2 million team structure.
Nope.
And you certainly cannot lead a $30 million company if you, as the founder or executive, are busy covering 3 different jobs because you can't retain talent. Whoever builds the stronger, more resilient internal culture right now wins the decade.
Stop scaring so hard at the economic weather radar outside and start paying deep attention to the engine that is actually powering your flight. Cultivate your people, use accessible tech to buy back their time, and build an environment where they actually want to stay.
Absolutely.
Because we want to leave you with one final provocative thought to mull over today. Think about your current team and think about the last person you tried to hire. If your company's brand prestige, your logo, and your compensation package were completely hidden from a candidate, what specific part of your daily internal culture would convince them to stay? Until next time, keep diving deep.